This video is a quick clip to all those who give our communion thought on Sundays. And first off, we want to say thank you very much for all the things that you do in preparation for the services. We appreciate the way that you guys spend the time to prepare and then to show up on Sundays and give the thought. It's always encouraging.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it just having some non-staff people, just volunteers that are up in front of our congregation and you sharing from your heart. I think that's good for our church to see people like that. So what we want to do is just for all of our volunteers that are doing that, to share just some practical training thoughts to help it just be a little bit better. And so, Harold, I know you got a couple of things. Why don't you start off?
Well, that may be the first one, is the dramatic pause. Timing is important all throughout the service. And for the 300 people that are out there, I think it's important that we keep things fluid and moving. And what may feel uncomfortable to you is a lot better than being uncomfortable to all of them. So maybe not so much on the reflective pauses, at least the really long pauses, to come up and immediately approach the table, when you're asked to come out. And we try to time it so that the music ends and then you're right up there, or whatever is right before it. So if you'd walk straight out to the table, even if you're a little uncomfortable, it'd be great if you could do that. And then also in that timing, also we want to try to keep it, around that two-minute mark. And I know sometimes that's hard to reach, but the best thing to do is to write it out and to practice it and be ready to go right on the 2 minutes.
We really need your help with that. We've got so many elements to our service, and they're scheduled out. And so we really need you to stick to a time frame like that would help us. And that way we're not putting nursery workers and children workers out by having longer services. And so please help us out with doing that. Let me share just a couple of things that I think are important in this communion meditation area. One of those is just a reminder to keep it about communion. We've got a short amount of time. This is not to be a devotional thought. Those are good for some other time, for some other place. We need you to be laser focused as we're talking about communion. And so if you're not mentioning something about Jesus and the cross, or Jesus' death and sacrifice, or God's love and grace, then you've missed the point of communion and what we're asking you to do. We need you to be really focused and really kind of head in that direction and talk about those kinds of things. The other thing that I would mention would be this: don't assume people know what communion's all about. We've got people that come from all kinds of different church backgrounds and from no church background. And so often it's easy for people like us who've been around church to just assume everybody knows what's going on. And that's definitely not the case anymore. Make sure that you tell people what we're getting ready to do and why we're doing it and how we're going to go about doing it. So people that aren't accustomed to it, it's new for them. And so anything that you can do to help people that have never walked in church before to feel at ease and to explain to them what's going on, I think it's going to be wonderful. In fact, I would encourage you to consider the junior high rule in this. The junior high rule is simply this: if when you get done with your communion meditation, would a 12-year-old boy who has not been to church know what's going on? I think that's probably just a good simple rule to follow as we're talking about this. One of our core values is this thing of celebrating the Lord's Supper on a weekly basis. We do it every Sunday. We carve out time in our worship service when a lot of churches don't do that. And so what we're asking you to do is let's put our best foot forward, those of us that are responsible for setting the table.
Yep. Thanks for taking time to watch the video. We appreciate you guys.